Welcome to the FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships for 2019. This, the Nations Cup for the European region, and we're about to watch our top 16 superstars go head-to-head. My name is Chris McCarthy, and alongside me is Jimmy Broadbent.
Yes, good to be here, Chris. Our European guys always give us a good race, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Well, let's see the points before we get into action, shall we? We've had 17 rounds so far. And TRL Lightning, the familiar face at the top there, 15,341 points. And a lot of familiar names up the top in this one.
Yeah, lots of very big hitters there, of course. Williams Adam, you know, has Adam Sassuillo, a name change from last season. He's only 500 points off the lead, and of course are from 1st to 16th place, separated by less than 2,000 points. So a big score for anyone from 9th downwards. TRL Manu Rodri, we know he's quick. If he gets a good result today, he might end up moving up the points.
So let's have a look at the track then, shall we? This Tokyo Expressway, it's going to be very, very difficult, particularly the layout we are using. We've got that very long start-finish straight there, split by a section of very fast and flowing corners.
It's the East Outer Loop circuit, definitely a circuit of two halves, as you said, Chris. Very long straight there, good for slipstreaming and passing there. Then the middle section, a lot of fast flowing corners, very difficult to get close to the car in front with the dirty air. For me, T1 and T12 probably the best overtaking spots, so look out for our drivers there, trying to line something up for an overtake.
Yeah, and of course an overtaking spot is literally just going to be the straight as well, isn't it? We're going to see plenty of slipstreaming, and they've got 9 laps to sort themselves out. Of course, they've got to be careful of penalties coming out of turn 13. If they pick up a penalty anywhere throughout the circuit, they will pick it up out of that turn 13. They can drop to last place, can't they, can't they, if they pick up a penalty in this one?
Yeah, definitely. Getting a bad run out of that corner is bad anyway. Taking a penalty which slows you down to essentially a pit lane speed limiter speed, having the rest of the field just fly past you, you're really going to suffer if you get a penalty around this circuit.
So that's going to be one strategy that they're going to have to take into account, just avoid penalties at all costs. And as we said, they're going to have 9 laps to take this one on. Let's have a look at what they're going to be driving in as well. Group 1 cars on hard and medium tyres. It's going to be very, very difficult, particularly with that 26 times tyre wear.
Can't help but chuckle when I hear Group 1 cars, because these are some of the fastest cars available in GT Sport, and we are essentially driving them around the public roads. Yeah, which is, of course, every racing driver's dream, I think, but very difficult, especially with how close the walls are around here.
Yeah, whose idea was that?
Yeah, well, fire that man, what we'll say. But on to the strategy, of course. 26 times tyre wear means that the racing hard tyre is good, just about to do 9 laps around here. That's a full race distance. But the racing medium tyre, we think, will last about 5 laps. Now, we have seen in previous rounds of the Superstar Series, people managing to make the mediums last a little bit, so maybe we'll see that again here, but we'll have to see what our drivers do. If you do decide to pit, though, it's going to lose you about 12 seconds or so, which is quite a long time on this circuit.
It is indeed, and it's very hard to overtake through some of the fast and flowing corners, so pitting can be very, very costly. It is a gamble indeed if you're going to go for that medium tyre, particularly if you don't make it last. Right then, let's get into the grid straight away, shall we, and get this race underway. There you can see the cars lining up on the grid. Their car choice is optional, so we'll see who has gone for what then. It looks like Mazdas are particularly popular towards the front. HRG has gone for a Mazda, and we'll start from pole position. Coque Lopez is going to be on second place, the Spaniard there. Then in third we have FIA, the Swedish driver, also on the Mazda. Williams Gio has also gone for the Mazda, and we'll start from the outside of row 2. On row number 3 we've got Pirata, and on the outside of row number 3, we've got Manu Rodri. Definitely one to watch, the Spaniard from there. Very quick indeed. Adam Sassuillo is going to be on row number 4. Williams Adam, known as Matu79, familiar to our World Tour event, will be on the outside of row number 4.
Yeah, first Hyundai there we've seen so far in 9th position there with XA4. Then we go down to 10th with RC Miura, also in the Mazda. We saw Manu Rodri with that great 787B there. We'd like seeing that there. SRC Insect there in 11th position. Then in 12th behind him is TRL Sutsu, the red line driver, in the Mazda. Then we go down to 13th position, PCM, not a driver we see very often in these races. Good to see him here. Then we have Matty 278 there, also in the Mazda. Very popular choice for our drivers. And there's another one. PR1 Kipso is driving that. And then rounding off the back of our field is Jev Dylan Cliff, also in a Mazda.
Yeah, well, the Mazdas are very, very popular indeed. Any ideas where you think that is? I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit. Is it? Have you ever taken the Mazda around this circuit, or have you had much experience in the
I can't
Mazda?
say I've driven the Mazda around this circuit, but what we tend to see is that the strengths of the car comes into play. So in this case, for example, it would be that the Mazda might just have a very decent straight line speed. It seems a lot of the Vision cars are very quick in a straight line. Of course, with the big straight here, you can lose out a lot if you get it wrong. Also going through the midsection as well, might be just a good balance of straight line speed and mid-corner grip. We've got a big run down to the start-finish line here. This is where the driver is just kind of having their last little breather, trying to focus on what's going on at hand. Of course, really very competitive, the European region, as are all the regions here, but of course, the European ones are me, I think, a bit biased maybe because I'm from there, but it always seems to be a little bit more, just a little bit a level above from me. And HRGRK leading the field, not a name we're familiar with, but they're just coming over the line now to start the race.
All on medium tyres as well, so no tyre strategy really to follow. It's just going to be about tyre management more than anything else. HRG, well, as we said, a fairly new face to the front here, but let's see what he can do as we go up towards turn number 1 for the first time. Koke Lopez there in chase in second place. Fire in third place, the Swedish driver. Then we've got Williams Gio in fourth, and Koke Lopez is going to go on the attack already down towards turn number 1, goes to the outside. Is he going to be able to get in front before turn number 1? He is, and Koke Lopez slots into the lead. HRG following in second place, but runs a little bit wide, and it looks as if Fire's gone just a little bit wide there. Williams Gio is there in fourth place as they come through turn number 2 for the first time. Looks as if we've got everyone line astern, no one going into any dramas, no penalties it looks like, but a new leader in Koke Lopez.
Yeah, Firestorm got to know the wall a little bit better there, but I think he's okay in third position there. That was really a very important move there for Koke Lopez. It's a very easy to pass in a straight, very hard to pass in the corners around there. Firestorm getting all sorts of wrong there, and as soon as you get out of ribbon round here, you can see there goes Peralta there. He gets 2 for 1, he gets past Giorgio and... oh wow, there goes Manny Rodri as well, so that mistake there for Firestorm actually held back Giorgio Mangano, and then everyone just went piling by, so that's a disaster there for those two, but a good turn of events to Peralta and Manny Rodri there in the awesome liveried Mazda. Oh, Giorgio Mangano's already picked up a penalty, so there's been some contact there, and he'll serve that. You can see the slowing down icon now coming up on your screen. He'll serve that coming out of G13, and that's going to slow him right down. He'll go right to the back of the field with that penalty.
Yeah, Giorgio Mangano, absolute disaster. Not exactly what you didn't want to do. Pick up a penalty, especially on the first lap. Giorgio Mangano will go from mid-pack all the way to last, and maybe well off the back of the field as well, as he finally gets back up to speed. And you can see already around 2 seconds back, and he's not even up to full throttle yet. But Koke Lopez leads, healthy lead as well, 8/10 ahead of anyone else. But Firestorm, the Swedish driver, going on the attack of the Italian Pirata, goes to the inside, and this looks like we're going to be an easy change for third place. There goes Firestorm into third place. A good start to the race for the Swedish driver. Now has to try and get after the top 2. Manu Rodri is in 5th place. That may have been a change that we've seen. In fact, no, Adam Siswillo was in fact behind, so Adam Siswillo just trying to follow Manu Rodri at the moment as they make their way up through the twisty sections now on lap number 2.
It's so tricky through here from the driver's point of view, because you can see it's essentially blind, these corners. You have to really know the circuit very well if you can throw the car around. 170 mile an hour there on the apex. Trying to Swillow only just gets it a bit wrong, a bit wide there and exit. The dirty air in front from Manny Rodri, TRL Manny Rodri I should say, would not be helping that at all. You might be thinking a lot of these guys have kind of 3-letter abbreviations in front of their name. That's essentially their team. So of course TRL being Team Redline as well, the Williams guys being the Williams eSports drivers, SRC in there as well. So a lot of different teams here. It's great to see they're all building drivers for this event. But here is Peralta there. He's coming up the inside of Firestorm. He's later on the brakes. Firestorm's on the worst line there. Peralta's have to keep a tighter line, so you have to get on the throttle a little bit later than Firestorm. But he's through. And there you go, nice. But now, oh no, sorry, he's actually pulled back behind. But Firestorm now is going to be giving a toe to Peralta all the way down the straight. And this is arguably the easier place to pass, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably not even worth overtaking at the last corner unless you've got a train of cars behind you. But even then, yeah, last lap is probably the only time really you want to do it. Now, HRG is pulling away from this battle, and it's going to change hands in terms of who will be following HRG. Peralta has pulled out of the tow, but can't quite get past Firestorm at the moment. We'll have Manu Rodri to deal with as well. Up towards turn number 1 we go, and Firestorm holding on to third place for now. HRG, though, I think doing a good job in second, seems to be keeping a good gap to Coque Lopez at the moment. Manu Rodri just sitting behind this battle we are looking at. New driver in 6th place as well, and say 4 has just come up to 6th, going past Adam Sasquillo, and Matthew 79 is there in 8th. The top 10 rounded out by Mirua and SRC Insi.
Worth noting that XA4, and I'm not going to try and say the rest of his name there, but I think I'll end up embarrassing myself. He's the only driver in the field who isn't driving a Mazda. He's driving the Hyundai, which is really nice to see him field a different car. He's going alright for me. He's gone up from 9th to 6th so far, so he's been making up places. He's actually right on the back now of TRL Manu Rodri in another Mazda, so at least we can spot his car. It's very different from the rest. Will he look up the inside here? What do we do what we said before? Do you think he'll wait? I think he's not going to wait. He's going to go straight up the inside now. I think try and force him a little bit wide and try and get him offline. What does Manu Rodri do? He goes long round the outside there, tries to carry the speed, but now he's back up behind XA4, and that's allowed Adam Sasquillo as well to get onto the back of Manu Rodri. So what I think we'll probably see here is Manu and Adam probably pull onto the back of XA4, maybe even pass him down to T1. I'm not sure what this Hyundai is like in a straight line, but as you can see, we've got all the speeds on the screen there, so you can see just how fast they all are in a straight line.
Yeah, well, they're pretty level at the moment. Manu Rodri is getting closer. I don't think he'll get close enough to pass, but behind, certainly close enough to pass, is Matthew 79, and he's going to go past Adam Sasquillo as we go down towards turn number 1. Adam just dropping back in behind, and XA4 did indeed hold on to that 5th place as we go through turn number 1 now on lap number 4. Coque Lopez out front has extended his lead up to 1.7 seconds, so he's pulled almost a second in 1 lap to HRG there. Pirata and Firestorm still very close together in 3rd and 4th place. But this, perhaps our main battle on track, the battle for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th with RC Mirua. I don't think I said that right. Closing in 9th place. I'll have a couple more goes and we'll try and get there. But RC is closing in 9th place.
Yeah, we'll give you a break from that, Chris. Don't take you away from it.
I'll go and do some practice.
Yeah, well, here's Pirata. He's actually gaining a little bit on our old leader, the Pulsit RK23 there. Williams Coque Lopez has just pulled away from the field. He's got 2-second gap now, so if he can keep that going, it's looking all fine and dandy. But here is Pirata. Now, he will have the draft down the straight. I wonder if he'll try and make a pass on HRG before the end. So here are the speeds and whatnot on the screen. When you're on board now, you can see the speed building in the bottom right-hand corner. These cars are fast. That's mile per hour, not kilometres. So we're doing 180 mile an hour up into 8th gear, final gear in this car. And we'll be seeing nearly 220 mile an hour before we come down to T1. Now, let's see what the draft does here. He is gaining ever so slightly there on RK23 in front. He's not going to quite be close, I think. Meanwhile, back there, Firestorm and XA4 are having a bit of a scrap, and looks like XA4 is holding the inside line. Firestorm looking to the outside. It's a long way around the outside of T1. Let's see if he can make it work. He's trying to squeeze into the inside, and he's through. Firestorm there, a little bit rough, but he's through to 4th place.
Good driving that from the Swedish driver. A little bit of side-by-side contact, but hey, rubbing is racing, as they say. Now, the French TRL driver picked up a penalty, dropped all the way to last place on that last lap, so I'm not sure if that was contact or barriers, but behind, we're still side-by-side between Firestorm and XA4, and XA4 in 4th place, so having a good race so far here. But this battling has actually dropped them back, isn't it, from the what is going to be the 2nd place battle now between RK23 and Pirata.
Well, it depends what happens here between the 2nd place battle, because if they start fighting, Chris, as you know, you start fighting, you're going slower.
I'll tell you what, the Hyundai is so fast through the flowing corners, isn't it? Already caught the 2nd place battle.
I think that's where it's got its advantage. The Hyundai is really quick through the corners, but not so fast on the straight, which is why you're seeing them have all sorts of bother coming in the end. So here we go then, down to the last corner. Maybe we'll just try and get it up the inside here and have it just pass and try and push Pirata wide, and then try and get the drive from 2nd place up the inside. He's got one of them. He's almost got 2. He has got 2 of them. The speed of the Hyundai through the corners is absolutely ludicrous. He's gone past both of them in one corner. A little bit of a biff on the way by, but I think Pirata's gone, what? Wait a minute. what happened there?
Where did he come from at XA4? And I'd say he's got a big enough gap to be out of the slipstream.
Okay.
But comes into the pits. Okay.
Oh, there you go. I think that's.
We haven't seen this before.
I think that's what we were worried about there. I think maybe he was really burning up the tyres, and now I think that's essentially put paid to his race. He's going to go right down to the back of the field, because it seems a lot of his guys are not actually going to be coming in for stops. They're going to try and one-stop it. So what could have potentially been the story of the race, and I think that's why maybe people pick the Mazda. Mazda's better on tyres.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a charging Hyundai coming through the field potentially on those new tyres. It'll be interesting to see the difference in pace between the new and used medium tyre. But we must return to the second place battle. Pirata just holding off RK23 and Firestorm at the moment. Now I think it's going to be a case of almost thinking about that last lap as well as concentrating the lap you're on, isn't it? If you feel that you're not able to pull away from Pirata, then do you just sit and wait for the last lap? If you do that, you're in danger of dropping back to 5th place with Matu79 closing in and Manu Rodri as well. So this is becoming an interesting situation, isn't it? Where would you place yourself?
Well, if
you're out there.
If I were in this race, I'd be off the back somewhere. I'd probably be facing backwards at T1, to be honest. So
if you're RK23, though, what do you think? It's better to probably go forwards than try and wait for the last lap?
It's a bit trickier. I think at this point, like we've seen that some drivers can pull away if they are quick from the sections. So I think what RK23 needs to do is get onto the draft of Pirata, try and get by him, I think, into T1, but to a point where he maybe gets by him and maybe slows him up a little bit with the pass, and then try and break away from the middle sector. Because ideally you want to have at least a second or so coming onto the straight if you have a hope of retaining the position. So right now RK23 is going to have a chance. He's coasting quite a lot of Pirata now. That's the effect of the slipstream. Will we see him dive to the inside? Will we see Pirata defend? Pirata is kind of taking the middle in line right now. I'm not sure he's actually wanting to give any space at all. And RK23 isn't quite close enough. I think he backed off a little bit there. So I think maybe opting to try it next lap.
Yeah, maybe that's what we're going to see. And well, it's good news for RK23 as well, because they are battling behind. Matu79 and Firestorm battling away.
Didn't he just take that place?
Yes, I believe it was just before they hit the braking zone. So Matu79 into 4th, Firestorm down to 5th. Manu Rodri closing in 6th. And then the French driver RC Miura. I gave it another go.
I'll say Miura.
Miura. Let's say RC Miura.
I'll put you out of misery.
Thank you.
But Matu, I've just realised he started in 8th place. So he's been on a charge this race, from 8th to 4th, and he's still got some in the tank, it seems. He's now very quickly closing in on the back of RK23 and Pirata. So it might be now that Pirata and RK23 are going to have to be looking out in their mirrors for a charging Finn. So, and here is, speaking of charging, is that charging Hyundai on fresh tyres, and he's taking no prisoners. That's a big contact. That's going to be a penalty there. He put him in the wall, I think. So that's probably going to be a penalty there for XA4. Unless he was very lucky he got away with it, but I don't see how he could have done. But right now he seems to have been penaltyless. But anyway, he's up to 14th place. He's going to have to try and keep driving this aggressively. Hopefully no more contact though from the Russian driver. Otherwise he's going to get a big old slap on the wrist from the onboard penalty system. Anyway, Pirata and RK23 separated by not very much. And look, Matu now is joining it. It's now a three-way scrap for second position. Now what's Matu going to do here? If I were Matu, I'll be looking to get by as quick as I can. My car is quicker, I know it is. Look, he's right on the back of HRG now. HRG going defensive. Now Matu trying to find, they're all ducking and weaving, trying to find a little bit of a spot on circuit to call their own. Matu's going to try the outside line. Not going to quite work there. Tucks in behind and stays in 4th position.
Good stuff then. Pirata still in 2nd place. RK23 still 3rd. And then it's Matu79 and Firestorm. Miura trying to close in as well, but has Manu Rodri just behind. I think that's a change of position we've seen there. Adam Siswillo is also in that battle. So 2nd to 8th, all fairly close together as we're about to go on to the last lap as well. So it's all shaping up nicely to be a last lap showdown for 3rd place out front. For 2nd place, Coque Lopez well out clear in front. Over 7 seconds is the lead for Coque Lopez, so absolutely no worries for him. But here we can see just how close it's getting with the last lap coming up now. And Adam Siswillo may be able to pick up a couple of places here if it all kicks off ahead. That's certainly what he'll be hoping for. Big old bit of contact with the barrier there though. Pirata, this is going to be an interesting situation. Mirrors are going to be absolutely full, and I think almost ran wide there. Perhaps just the preferred racing line, but RK23, pulled a gap of half a second, so it's actually the better thing to do, wasn't it? You risk leaving a gap at the inside, but if you get away with it, then you are rewarded with this.
Definitely. Well, this is it now for our top RK23 drivers. This is the last chance to get by on the slipstream. It's not really manageable to the start-finish line now. RK23 closing in on Pirata. I think we'll probably see him dive to the inside. Matthew there in the background for the finish driver. He's come up from 8th position, now challenging for 2nd. Meanwhile, 5th, 6th and 7th are separated. And there's 8th as well. There's that's Williams, that's Adam. Adam Tiswillow coming by now. He's got 1 on the straight, so try and get 2. Goes up the inside of Firestorm, not quite close enough though, and Manu Rodri will keep 5th and Firestorm will keep 6th. And it looks like that RK23 did get Pirata there for 2nd position, so that's gone. So Pirata's down to 3rd. Firestorm and Manu Rodri though are still side by side going to the middle section. Manu Rodri has the inside line for his next left-hander, so he should take the position, but can he hold it round the outside? Can Firestorm hold it for the next right-hander? No, he can't. Has to ducking behind. Somehow Manu Rodri keeps 5th.
Yeah, good stuff from Manu Rodri, but the job is far from done. He's got to be careful down that last straight. And a big mistake from Pirata there has seen Matu79 go into 3rd, and that may have just given RK23 2nd place, but Matu79 has picked up a penalty. Well, was that contact with barriers? I didn't see any contact with Pirata.
It must have been contact with Pirata at that point there, because otherwise they wouldn't have the penalty. I think that must be. I don't think he hit the barrier that hard, but anyway. He's going to set the penalty and he's going to go flying down the order, so that pretty much guarantees 3rd position, get it right, the 3rd try for Pirata. But meanwhile, our winner, Coque Lopez, what an absolute dominant drive from the Spanish driver, the Williams Esports driver, comes across the start-finish line to take the victory. What a drive there from the Williams driver, and it's going to be HRG RK23, our pole sitter, 1 down from that, finishing in 2nd place with Pirata 3rd, Manu Rodri in 4th, and Adam Tiswillow coming home in 5th, Firestorm 6th. And look what happened there to Matu, from what seemed to be a absolutely guaranteed 3rd position, ending up finishing behind XA4, who's pitted. So Matu will be absolutely kicking himself there.
XA4, an interesting strategy to pit, but 7th it was in the end from the back. In just a couple of laps, Matu79 8th, Mura was 9th, and we had the TRL driver, the French driver, in 10th after that penalty, so quite a good recovery in the end. PCM was 11th, Mati 278 was 12th, and then we had Giorgio Mangano towards the back with our one and only Irish driver in the field. So interesting race, very dominant performance from Coque Lopez, 10 seconds clear of RK23. We wouldn't expect a gap like that in a Superstars race, but Coque Lopez, well, he did everything right. RK23 in a close battle finished 2nd with Pirata 3rd. A great race and another interesting battle from our top 16. So let's see what that does to the points then. TRL Lightning still leading the way. Coque Lopez, though, with that win, coming up to 2nd place. Pirata also jumping up into the top 5. RK23 with that 2nd goes up to 9th place as well. And Firestorm 15th place after his impressive performance.
Yeah, but great there for Williams, Coque Lopez. He's only about 50 points now off the top. We're so used to seeing TRL Lightning just absolutely dominate this series, but having some real competition there from the Spaniard.
And there'll be more real competition at our next World Tour event at the Nürburgring 24-hour. Make sure you're with us on June the 21st and 22nd. Available to watch in all the usual places and at the times you can see below on your screen. Make sure you're there with us. It's going to be a fantastic event. But for now, it's goodbye.